The Republican debate, the fourth one. It was powerful. We're going to play some clips, make some comments. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
Welcome to the program, friend. A lot to cover with you. I want to start off by saying, look, if somebody goes after Ted Cruz over the fact that he forgot the Department of Education and said the Department of Commerce twice, just ignore them or use it as another moment for you to despise the media. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, Ted Cruz listed 5 agencies, federal agencies that he would just eliminate, but he said the Department of Commerce twice and forgot to say the Department of Education. And so right off the bat, different media people are saying, well, is this his Rick Perry moment? Harkening back to Perry in 2012 when he was the front runner, and because he forgot one of the 3 departments that he would eliminate, it might have actually been the Department of Education too, but because he forgot one of the departments he would eliminate, he just plummeted in the polls. Ted Cruz is not Rick Perry. Ted Cruz is a brilliant debater. He has a brilliant mind and an incredible memory. And I'm going to say something that's just slightly self-serving here. I do this program without notes, okay? Sometimes I will have like 5 or 6 notes or words written down, chicken scratches, to remind myself where I want to go. Like with today's program, I write down what the video clips are about. But for the most part, I go from here to there. And sometimes it shows. But most people have no idea how difficult what Ted Cruz is doing. He makes it look easy. And it's not easy. I'm telling you, it's not easy. So if somebody gives him a hard time, just go, excuse me, Barack Obama would get trounced by Ted Cruz in real life because Barack Obama knows how to read a teleprompter. La-di-da. Now, to some content. Let's start with the clip with Rand Paul.
Does it matter at all that the gap between the rich and everyone else is widening?
Absolutely, and I think that we ought to look where income inequality seems to be the worst. It seems to be worst in cities run by Democrats, governors of states run by Democrats, and countries currently run by Democrats.
I thought that was great. And one of the things that they left out in this little montage was that he actually mentioned some locations like, say, Baltimore, a city that is completely run by Democrats and has some of the hugest disparity. I am not a partisan person, okay? If you're a regular viewer of this program, you know that I lean towards the Republican candidates, but that I have been far harder on Mitch McConnell and John Boehner than I have been on Hillary. I despise so much of the Republican leadership, but I also despise what the Democratic Party is doing to the country and is standing for. So in certain circumstances like this, I think that Rand Paul was clever to make it partisan, because the Democratic Party is based upon redistribution of wealth. And when you make people dependent on the government, you take away their incentive to be self-sufficient and then to really excel at something and then to climb the ladder so that they're a stable middle class, upper middle class, maybe even making it to upper class. When you've got people that are getting $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a year worth of benefits from the government, from the sweat of another man's brow, what incentive do they have to work hard? Not much. All right, let's run this. This is one of my favorite clips with Ben Carson.
Dr. Carson, to you. You recently railed against the double standard in the media, sir, that seems obsessed with inconsistencies and potential exaggerations in your life story, but looked the other way when it came to then Senator Barack Obama's. Are you worried your campaign, which you've always said, sir, is bigger than you, is now being hurt by you?
Well, first of all, thank you for not asking me what I said in the 10th grade. I appreciate that.
I'll just forget that follow-up there.
I have no problem with being vetted. What I do have a problem with is being lied about. and then putting that out there as truth. But, you know, when I look at somebody like Hillary Clinton, who sits there and tells her daughter and a government official that, no, this was a terrorist attack, and then tells everybody else that it was a video. Where I came from, they call that a lie. And
wasn't that great? Now, look, first of all, it was a stupid question. Are you becoming a problem for your own campaign? No, he is the campaign. He's the campaign. How can he hurt the campaign? But beyond that, his point at the end about Hillary lying and the secular media not covering it, this is what we're up against. I've said it to you repeatedly. We are up against people in the secular press that have an agenda that is usually, not always, but usually godless, socialist, oftentimes Marxist, hedonist, and anti-life. They're killers of babies. I just need to think of a couple more ist words. I'll be right back with them. Compassion. We have to have compassion. We're Christians. And it's one of the reasons why the debate over the deportation of illegal immigrants is so difficult for me on a personal level. And I'm sure for you as well. If you didn't see the debate, when people said, look, we can't deport these people, the crowd was much louder in cheering, saying, yes, I agree, we cannot deport them, than it was when people like Trump or Cruz said, we've got to deport them. And all I could think of is, yeah, these people are way north. They might have a couple straggler Canadians coming over the border, but they're not dealing with the massive influx of illegal immigrants that are pouring through our southern border. Now, I'm going to show you a clip from Kasich and Trump, an exchange. It's a long clip, so it's worth watching. And I want you to know something. This is the truth, okay? Trump is going to refer to something that General Eisenhower did. We did our fact checking, and the number Trump uses is probably low. And what Trump did not do, which is good because it would have probably destroyed him, maybe not. The name of the program that Eisenhower used was called Operation Wetback. I'm not kidding you. That was the name of the program that President Eisenhower, Dwight Eisenhower, I like Ike, that's the name of the program that they used to deport people into Mexico. So here's the exchange, and then we'll talk about it.
Senator Rubio.
Can we comment on that?
Yeah, one quick comment, yes.
Well, look, in 1986, Ronald Reagan basically said the people who were here, if they were law-abiding, could stay. But if people think that we are going to ship 11 million people who are law-abiding, who are in this country, and somehow pick them up at their house and ship them out of Mexico to Mexico, think about the families. Think about the children. Come on, folks. We all know you can't pick them up and ship them back across the border. It's a silly argument. It's not an adult argument. It makes no sense.
All I can say, you're lucky in Ohio that you struck oil. That's for one thing. Let me just tell you that Dwight Eisenhower, good president, great president, people liked him. I like Ike, right? The expression, I like Ike. Moved 1.5 million illegal immigrants out of this country. Moved them just beyond the border, they came back. Moved them again beyond the border, they came back. Didn't like it. Moved them way south, they never came back.
All right, so what Trump said is correct. That really did happen. And again, there's some estimates that it was as high as 3 million people. But here's what happened. The first wave was 50,000 people were taken. When they saw the first 50,000 people go back, 500,000 illegal immigrants said, I am getting out of here. And Trump knows that this is what's going to happen. Trump knows it's what's going to happen. And I've almost discussed this on our show, but I thought, I'm just going to leave it alone. Oh boy, there I am, Sunday morning quarterback. If they start rounding up illegal immigrants, putting them on buses, clink, clink, handcuffs, the whole 9 yards, You're going to see people flying, running, hitchhiking, taking bicycles south of the border, okay? Because they do not want to go on the terms of our law enforcement agencies. They want to go on their own terms, all right? So now to Kasich's point, and I have to tell you, to front load this, all right, full disclosure, I do not like John Kasich. I do not trust him, all right? He's another one of these treacherous Roman Catholics. And the Catholics, when they become treacherous, they're the worst. They just are. Most of them are, anyway. I'm talking about Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, etc. So we've got them on our side, on the Republican side, on the conservative side as well, on the so-called pro-life side. That's what I mean.
Senator Rubio.
Can we comment on that?
Yeah, one quick comment. Yes.
Well, look, in 1986, Ronald Reagan basically said the people who were here, if they were law-abiding, could stay. But if people think that we are going to ship 11 million people who are law-abiding, who are in this country, and somehow pick them up at their house and ship them out of Mexico to Mexico, think about the families. Think about the children. Come on, folks. We all know you can't pick them up and ship them back across the border. It's a silly argument. It's not an adult argument. It makes no sense.
All I can say, you're lucky in Ohio that you struck oil. That's for one thing. Let me just tell you that Dwight Eisenhower, good president, great president, people liked him. I like Ike, right? The expression, I like Ike. Moved 1.5 million illegal immigrants out of this country. Moved them just beyond the border, they came back. Moved them again beyond the border, they came back. Didn't like it. Moved them way south, they never came back.
Kasich makes a good point. Just to think of the disruption, the harm to families. But he said something that wasn't true. He said, you're going to take law-abiding people and... Oh, stop. They're not law-abiding. If they were law-abiding, they wouldn't be here. They are here as illegal aliens, okay? They're illegal. So you can't say that they're law-abiding. That's the problem. And they are destroying the economy for lower-income people. And one of the reasons this is so difficult for me is because, think with me, the strain, the despair, the hope that would be driving someone to leave everything and to come to this country, to leave everyone that they know and love, or most of who they know and love. Think of what kind of a crisis you would be in, me. Think of what kind of crisis you would be in if you said, I'm leaving. I'm leaving the city I grew up in. I'm leaving my extended family. I'm leaving my friends. And I'm going to another country. I'm going to go to some place where they don't even speak my language. You've got to be in really rough shape to want to do that. A really deep need. So my heart does go out to them. It really does. And Jesus said, be careful how you treat the foreigner. Be careful how you treat the alien, or rather Moses did. Be careful how you treat the foreigner and the alien. Remember that you too were aliens once. You too were foreigners. So we better come at this in the fear of God and with the love of our fellow human being, even if we do in fact have to deport a bunch of them, because God is watching us. Christians must be involved in government, period. If Christians weren't involved in government, we would not have a United States of America. And there have been brilliant Christian minds over the centuries, such as John Locke, who is called the philosopher of American liberty. He was quoted by Clarence Thomas in his recent dissent on the homosexual marriage decision. If we don't understand John Locke, we don't understand the founding of America. I want to send you this book and my book, The Sword, subtitled The Blessing of Righteous Government and The Overthrow of Tyrants. I want to send you these two books for a gift of whatever you can afford. Pay the $8 shipping and handling, which does not cover our costs, and then give a gift of whatever size you want, and we'll send you these books. If you cannot afford anything but the $8, can't even afford that, write us a note and we'll send them to you for free. I want you to have these books so that you can be better equipped to fight in the political arena. Come on, order them today. Welcome back. If you just joined us, I'm Randall Terry. You are watching Voice of Resistance, and I want to encourage you, if you're a regular viewer, ask your friends to watch. You know that this is a pretty unique program. There's very few programs that cover news and comment on the news from a distinctly Christian viewpoint, even quoting the scriptures or church history when we need to. So I'm hoping that you are blessed and benefited by this show. The exchange that we're about to show you between Kasich and Trump was a little testy, a little ugly, and you can see the animus that's there between these two men. Roll the tape.
Gerald, it was what happened to my question? You're not going to have my back. I'm going to have my back. Let me say a couple things here. First of all, we have grown.
You should let Jeb speak.
We have grown.
No, it's unfair.
In the state of Ohio.
Governor.
Hold on. Our fracking industry, energy industry, may have contributed 20,000. But if Mr. Trump understood that the real jobs come in the downstream, not in the upstream, but in the downstream, and that's where we're going to get our jobs. But Ohio is diversified. And false little things, sir, they really don't work when it comes to the truth.
But let me just... built an unbelievable company worth billions and billions of dollars. I don't have to hear from this man. Believe me. I don't have to hear from him.
Mr. Trump.
The one question I have is, how does a man protect his own back? I've got my own back. What? Do we really want a man as president who thinks he can have his own back? How does he cover his front? I mean, it was rude of him to say that to Jeb. I actually felt bad for Jeb last night. I felt like I was watching a man who needed to ask permission. He let Terry Schiavo die, and I'm starting to see, while I watch him in this series of debates and the way he's stumbling and fumbling around and his presidential hopes are crashing and burning, I can see now why he did not have the guts to save her life. I could see why he was so indecisive. He actually, I won't go there. I'll tell you, he had ambulances running around the corner, just sitting there waiting for the order to go and get her, with police right there with them. And he never had the guts to do the right thing. And he let a woman starve to death, dehydrate to death, while he was the governor and had the political and legal authority to save her life. Now that I watch him in these debates, I recognize why he didn't save her. All right, let's see him. Let's see Mr. Bush with his little discussion on illegal immigrants and what we're going to do to get rid of them.
You yourself said let Governor Bush speak. Governor Bush.
Thank you, Donald, for allowing me to speak at the debate. That's really nice of you. Really appreciate that. What a generous man you are. 12 million illegal immigrants, to send them back is just not possible. And it's not embracing American values. And it would tear communities apart. And it would send a signal that we're not the kind of country that I know America is. And even having this conversation sends a powerful signal. They're doing high fives in the Clinton campaign right now when they hear this. What we need to do is allow people to earn legal status where they pay a fine, where they work, where they don't commit crimes, where they learn English, and over an extended period of time, they earn legal status. That's the path, a proper path to make this work.
Senator Rubio.
Well, according to Mr. Bush, we're not going to get rid of them. And there is an argument to say to these people, you've come here illegally, we're going to do this, this, and this, you're going to do this, this, and this. Here's the problem, all right? And this matters. America is almost $20 trillion in debt. That does not include unfunded liabilities, okay? When you look at the unfunded liabilities, that means the promises that we've made. An unfunded liability, okay, that's big talk for, well, we've promised to pay Social Security this far out. We've promised to pay Medicare this far out. We've promised to pay Medicaid this far out. Those are unfunded liabilities. We don't have any money for them, but we've made the commitment. When you consider unfunded liabilities, it dwarfs the $20 trillion debt that we have. So when we have all of these illegal immigrants pouring in, and if we give them citizenship, most of them are going to become members of the Democratic Party, and they're going to vote for more subsidies, more giveaways, more government freebies that aren't free. They come from the sweat of other people's brow. And that could be the end of the Republic. It would certainly be the end of the Republican Party, and it may be the end of the Republic because we will go bankrupt as a nation. So we need to stop and pause and think long and hard before we say that we're going to grant 12 million people, 12 million illegals amnesty, make them citizens, give them voting cards, let them vote themselves more money. It'll be the end of us. Friend, this TV show represents a mission. It's to be a voice of resistance to the evil in the land, but also to inspire people like you to take a stand at any level that you might be able to equip you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to give you the rhetorical ammunition that you need. But we still have to pay bills. This program, as you know if you're a regular viewer, we don't spend a lot of time raising money. We don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you need to buy this and we're gonna run. No, we're bringing you a message, but we still have bills that we need to pay. I'm asking you, if you have been blessed by this show, to please go to our website or send a check to the address you see on the screen or call the phone number that you see on the screen and use your credit card and to give $50 or $100 or $500 just to help us meet our normal expenses. And we'll keep bringing you this hard-hitting show. Happy Veterans Day to you, and we thank all of the veterans who have served honorably. We thank you for your sacrifice. We thank you for your courage. We thank you for your service to the country. God bless you. Long life to you. We're going to play some clips on tomorrow's program that some of them are pretty entertaining. Ted Cruz had a great line about if it was illegal immigrants that were all members of the press and were driving down the wages of the press because there were so many of them, then the press would have a very, very different attitude about what's going on. You're going to want to watch tomorrow's program. We have to be compassionate to illegal immigrants. We have to remember the scriptures regarding this. We have to remember what Jesus said, what you do to the least of my brethren, you do to me. Many of these are our Christian brothers and sisters, okay? So we've got to be careful. Having said that, I think, and I could be wrong, please God, but I think that there is a legitimate argument to be made that if you don't control your borders, if you don't say who comes in and who gets to become a citizen on your terms, then you're no longer a nation of laws. You're no longer a nation of laws. If you can't control your border, people just flood in and then they take over your country, then you've lost your nation, you've lost your country. The other thing is we can't even begin to imagine the economic toll that this is taking on us. Some people think, no, it's great for us. Maybe not. Because a lot of the money that illegal immigrants make, they send out of the country, okay? So they're not paying into Social Security, they're not paying into Medicare and Medicaid, because a lot of times they're working illegally under the table. Then they're living in apartments with 3, 4, 5, 6 adults sharing a small apartment, and they're sending money home. The money is leaving the country. Do you understand? Factor in also that there's young people, oftentimes minorities in the cities, who can't get a job now. So they're in despair, and sometimes there is a connection between those levels of despair and boredom. And only 19% of young black men or young black people have a job right now. That despair, that idle time on their hands, some of them are becoming criminals. I don't think we've figured out yet the toll of having all of these illegal immigrants here. We've got to deal with it. God bless you.